Welcome back to the channel. We got a fun article here. 40 best country singers of all time ranked. Some of the best entertainers of all time hail from the country genre. There are honky-tonk heroes, bluegrass belters, and rhythmic rockers. There are banjos, guitars, fiddles, and harmonicas. Country music can be a breath of fresh air, an escape to another world, or a righteous anthem. On this list, we celebrate the 40 best country singers of all time. At number 40 on the list is Tim McGraw. Many contemporary country music fans first heard of the country crooner Tim McGraw from Taylor Swift in her debut single named after the artist. However, a Louisiana-born Tim McGraw has been topping charts since 1994 with his hit single It's Your Love. Since then, McGraw has released 15 studio albums, 10 of which have hit the #1 spot on the top country albums chart. McGraw is a versatile country artist and collaborated with rapper and singer Nelly for 2004 hit Over and Over. At number 39 on the list is John Denver. John Denver is a polarizing country singer, with many finding him just too peppy and pleasant to tolerate. Denver has numerous iconic tunes, including Take Me Home Country Roads, Thank God I'm a Country Boy, and Rocky Mountain High. John Denver was one of the most popular acoustic artists of the 70s and performed mainly with his acoustic guitar and a big smile. He has over 300 songs and composed around 200 of those himself. Tragically, Denver passed away age 53 while piloting his own plane. At number 38 on the list is Carrie Underwood. Carrie Underwood is a country artist that came to prominence on the popular talent show American Idol in 2005. Underwood's first single, Inside Your Heaven, debuted at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, which is the first time a country single had done so. Underwood has had some massive crossover hits, including Jesus Take the Wheel and single girl anthem Before He Cheats. Underwood hails from Oklahoma and is a 7-time Grammy Award winner. Rolling Stone called her the female vocalist of her generation of any genre. At number 37 on the list is Brad Paisley. Born and raised in West Virginia, country star Brad Paisley has been making waves in the country music world since 1999 and his debut album, Who Needs Pictures? Since then, not only has Paisley released tons of studio albums, but he's also brought home 3 Grammy Awards, 14 Academy of Country Music Awards, 14 Country Music Association Awards, and 2 American Music Awards. Now 49 years old, Paisley shows no sign of slowing down his music career anytime soon. At number 36 on the list is Leanne Rimes. A Mississippi native, singer-songwriter, and actress, Leanne Rimes rose to stardom at the age of 13, becoming the youngest country music star since Tanya Tucker in 1972. Since her time in the spotlight, the blonde-haired beauty has won several awards, including 2 Grammys, 3 AMCs, a CMA, 12 Billboard Music Awards, and an American Music Award. Considering the number of awards that Rimes has racked up over the years, we think it's safe to say that the 38-year-old exudes pure natural talent. At number 35 on the list is Kenny Chesney. Hailing all the way from Tennessee, singer-songwriter and record producer Kenny Chesney is one of the most successful crossover country artists. In fact, he happens to be one of the most popular touring acts in country music, regular selling out venues. Aside from the fact that he has recorded over 20 albums and sold 30 million albums worldwide thus far, Chesney is a multi-award winner. Not only has he brought home 6 Academy of Country Music Awards, but he's also received 9 awards from the Country Music Association. At number 34 on the list is Winona Jud. Let's be real here. The Judds are no strangers to the spotlight. Between Ashley, Winona, and Naomi, while Ashley pursued a career in acting, Winona the Naomi rose to fame during the 80s with their country music duo, the Judds. During their time together, they released 7 albums in addition to 26 singles, of which 14 were #1 hits. Once the Judds disbanded in 1991, Winona naturally began a solo career. The She Is His Only Need singer has gone on to receive tons of awards for her undeniable talent. At number 33 on the list is Trisha Yearwood. Trisha Yearwood is a multi-award-winning country recording artist, actress, author, television personality, and celebrity chef. After rising to fame with her 1991 debut single, She's in Love with a Boy, Yearwood has gone on to make quite a name for herself, earning awards and nominations along the way. But although Yearwood continued releasing a series of major country hits, at some point she decided to go on a hiatus from her own musical career to focus on other projects. Not only has she published 3 successful cookbooks, but she even began a culinary series on the Food Network in 2012. At number 32 on the list is Keith Urban. Born in New Zealand and raised in Australia, Keith Urban is a singer-songwriter and producer. In 1991, at the age of 24, Urban released a self-titled debut album before heading off to the United States a year later. It wasn't until 1999 that Urban made his solo American debut with a second album. Since then, the Wasted Time singer has released several more albums and grabbed up tons of awards. With an impressive career like that, plus a beautiful wife like Nicole Kidman, it's safe to say that Urban is living his best life. At number 31 on the list is Lorie Morgan. Born in 1959, country music singer Lorie Morgan has been singing since the age of 13 and charted her first single when she was just 20 years old. Aside from being known for her career, though, Morgan is also the daughter of George Morgan, widow of Keith Whitley, and ex-wife of John Randall and Sammy Kershaw, all of whom are also country music singers. The country star has recorded in collaboration with those men as well as Frank Sinatra, Johnny Mathis, Tammy Wynette, Dolly Parton, Andy Williams, the New World Philharmonic, and Pam Tillis. At number 30 on the list is Conway Twitty. Country music has influences from many musical genres, and Conway Twitty embodied the world of rockabilly. His 1958 song, It's Only Make Believe, was an Elvis-inspired tune that many fans believed was actually Presley singing. When Twitty pivoted from rock and roll to country, many radio stations wouldn't play his songs. However, Twitty's 1970 song Hello Darlin' stayed at the top of the country charts for 4 weeks. The star also released several duets with fellow country music star Loretta Lynn. At number 29 on the list is Deanna Carter. Now 54 years old, Deanna Carter is an American country music singer-songwriter. Born in Nashville, Tennessee, Carter rose to prominence in 1996 with the release of her debut album, Did I Shave My Legs for This? No more than 2 years later, the country bombshell came out with another hit album called Everything's Gonna Be Alright. That was followed by 2003's I'm Just a Girl, 2005's The Story of My Life, and 2007's The Chain. From the sounds of it, Carter likes to stay busy, so it comes as no surprise that in 2013, she decided to form her own record label, Little Nugget Records. At number 28 on the list is Garth Brooks. Lots of country singers push the boundaries for what a country artist should be. One of those innovators is Garth Brooks, who managed to make himself a huge fan base with his crossover country music career. In fact, Brooks is the only artist in music history to have 9 diamond status albums in the USA, taking over from the Beatles' former record. Brooks is a best-selling artist and records with the same studio band each time, the G-Men. At number 27 on the list is Sara Evans. Brown-eyed beauty Sara Evans is an American country music singer-songwriter. Since her start in the music industry back in 1997, Evans has put out 10 studio albums, with her latest, Copy That, having been released in 2020. Throughout the years, the Born to Fly singer has collaborated with several musicians including the Warren Brothers, Vince Gill, McBride, Mindy McCready, Lorie Morgan, Phil Vassar, and Pat Green, among others. Now 49 years old, Evans has had quite a fruitful career, earning numerous awards along the way. At number 26 on the list is Reba McIntyre. Country singer Reba McIntyre was one of the first female country artists to be able to compete with male artists in terms of album and tour sales. The Oklahoma-born entertainer has released 29 studio albums, 28 of which have been certified gold, platinum, or multi-platinum. During her hugely successful country music career, Reba McIntyre and her former husband, Narvel Blackstock, founded Starstruck Entertainment. The company controlled all aspects of McIntyre's career and expanded to include horse farms, publishing, and construction. At number 25 on the list is Blake Shelton. Whether or not you're a country music fan, there's no doubt that you know who Blake Shelton is. An Oklahoma native, Shelton is a singer and television personality who made his debut in 2001 with the single Austin. From then now, the hunk has made quite a name for himself, charting 40 singles including 27 number ones, and getting nominated for a Grammy Award a whopping 9 times. Shelton is also known for his role as a judge on several televised singing competitions, including NBC's The Voice. At number 24 on the list is Lefty Friselle. Let's go back in time a little to the early 1950s. Texan honky-tonk singer Lefty Friselle released his debut track, If You've Got the Money, I've Got the Time, and became a country star. Friselle was known for his optimistic sound, which was in opposition to fellow country star Hank Williams, who tended to sing of misery and hopelessness. Friselle passed away at only 47 years old, but he inspired generations of country singers to come, including Willie Nelson, Merl Haggard, and George Jones. At number 23 on the list is Allison Krauss. Technically, singer Allison Krauss is a bluegrass and traditional country singer. Throughout her career, Krauss has popularized bluegrass music and helped renew interest in the genre. For her efforts, Krauss has won an astonishing 27 Grammy Awards, making her the most awarded singer and female artist in Grammy history. Allison Krauss's music was featured on Oh Brother Where Art Thou soundtrack. The singer also collaborated with Led Zeppelin lead singer Robert Plant for the album Raising Sand in 2007. Naturally, it won 5 Grammy Awards. At number 22 on the list is Whan Jennings. Whan Jennings was a reluctant country star and one of the founders of the outlaw movement. This subgenre of country came to prominence in the 1970s and 1980s and combined honky-tonk derived country with rock and roll. Texas-born Jennings wore mainly black, pushing against the rhinestone conventions of Nashville at the time. Eventually, Jennings joined the country group The Highwaymen, along with fellow country stars Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, and Kristofferson. Jennings' son Shooter went on to become a successful country artist. At number 21 on the list is Bobby Bare. Country singer and songwriter Bobby Bare was a progressive country artist throughout the 1960s and 1970s. Just before Bare was drafted into the U.S. military in the 1950s, he wrote and recorded a demo for a song called American Boy. The song was supposed to be for someone else, but the record company released Bare's original version. His single, Shame on Me, was one of the first country singles to use a horn section and made 2 duet albums with fellow country singer Skeeter Davis. Alright, we're 20 artists into the best 40 country singers of all time ranked. If you haven't seen your favorite artist show up yet, tune in for part 2 coming to the channel soon. This list celebrates the 40 best country singers of all time. Let's remind you who we spoke about in part 1 of this video. At number 40 was Tim McGraw. Number 39 was John Denver. Number 38 was Carrie Underwood. Number 37 was Brad Paisley. Number 36 was Leanne Rimes. Number 35 was Kenny Chesney. Number 34 was Winona Jud. Number 33 was Trisha Yearwood. Number 32 was Keith Urban. Number 31 was Lorie Morgan. Number 30 was Conway Twitty. Number 29 was Deanna Carter. Number 28 was Garth Brooks. Number 27 was Sarah Evans. Number 26 was Reba McIntyre. Number 25 was Blake Shelton. Number 24 was Lefty Friselle. Number 23 was Allison Krauss. Number 22 was Whan Jennings. Number 21 was Bobby Bare. Now that you've been caught up with the artists we spoke about in part 1 of this video, let's continue on with the 40 best country singers of all time. At number 20 on the list is Paty Klene. Country singer Paty Klene had a short but extremely influential career. With her husky alto voice, the artist successfully crossed over into pop music, and her songs are still belted out across the world today. Klene's most famous song by far is 1961's Crazy, written by fellow country star Willie Nelson. Initially, Klene didn't like the track and refused to sing or record it. After omitting some sections, she eventually agreed to go ahead and recorded her vocal in just 1 take. At number 19 on the list is Charley Pride. Charley Pride was country's first black superstar. He went on to become the best-selling performer at record label RCA since Elvis Presley. Born in Mississippi, Pride was one of 11 children born to sharecroppers. Before music, Pride almost had a career as a semi-professional baseball player. At Pride's first large show, only some of the 10,000 fans attended knew the star was African American. In 1993, Pride was inducted into the Grand Ole Opry, making him one of 3 black artists. At number 18 on the list is Kristofferson. Fellow country outlaw Kristofferson was another artist that favored independent songwriting over participating in the Nashville music machine. Kristofferson was born in Texas and moved around the country because his father was in the military. The singer started writing songs when he was studying at Oxford University in England. When sweeping floors at Columbia recording studios, Kristofferson gave June Carter a tape to give to her husband, Johnny Cash. When Cash didn't get in touch, Kristofferson landed a helicopter on his front yard. At number 17 on the list is Jerry Reed. Georgia man Jerry Reed was a country musician and actor. Known as the Guitar Man after his popular song, Reed was a skilled guitarist, playing in the studio for Elvis Presley, Bobby Bare, and Merl Haggard. Reed's biggest chart success was his song When You're Hot, You're Hot, and he wrote hits for fellow artists like Porter Wagner and Johnny Cash. 1970 hit Amos Moses combined rock, funk, country, and Cajun influences, and continues to be a line dancing favorite. At number 16 on the list is Porter Wagner. Country music star Porter Wagner was known for his rhinestone-encrusted country and western suits. The Missouri-born entertainer introduced an unknown Miss Dolly Parton on to his TV show, The Porter Wagner Show, in 1967, and went on to duet with her into the early 1970s. Wagner's hits include Green Green Grass of Home and the Carroll Country Accident. The star continues to be known as Mr. Grand Ole Opry and passed away with his family, as well as Dolly Parton, by his side. At number 15 on the list is Tammy Wynette. Country star Tammy Wynette is one of country music's biggest selling female singers. Born in 1942, Wynette paved the way for Taylor Swift, Miranda Lambert, and Casey Musgraves to emerge decades later. The First Lady of Country Music is best known for her slightly problematic single, Stand By Your Man, and for her songs that dealt with the realities of relationships. Along with husband George Jones, Wynette was part of a country power couple, and together they released several albums and singles. At number 14 on the list is Kenny Rogers. Kenny Rogers is a huge country crossover success, moving from a folk ensemble to rock and roll group First Edition to a prosperous solo country career. The Texas-born singer-songwriter is one of the best-selling musical artists of all time and was the first country artist to consistently sell out arenas. Of course, many people hear Kenny Rogers and immediately think of his Grammy Award-winning song, The Gambler. Adorably, Rogers kept a pet goat named Smitty at his estate in Georgia. At number 13 on the list is Shania Twain. Women in country music are an impressive bunch, with stacks of attitude and musical talent to boot. Shania Twain, born Eileen Edwards, is a Canadian country star and the best-selling female artist in country music history. Twain hit the big time with instant classics like Man, I Feel Like a Woman, That Don't Impress Me Much, and Any Man of Mine. With her good looks and songwriting talent, Twain made country cool on the mainstream stage. She has won 5 Grammy Awards. At number 12 on the list is Willie Nelson. Texas-born Willie Nelson is one of the main figures of outlaw country music. He's also one of the most recognizable figures in country music, known for his iconic song like On the Road Again. He also played alongside Johnny Cash, Whan Jennings, and Kristofferson in the country supergroup The Highwaymen. With classics like Always on My Mind, Nelson is a talented songwriter and a beloved artist. Plus, he lives the outlaw life, including having to dodge the IRS for unpaid taxes. At number 11 on the list is Kitty Wells. It's important to celebrate early female country stars because the women of country music today wouldn't be around without them. Tennessee-born Kitty Wells was the first ever woman to top the country charts way back in 1952 with It Wasn't God Who Made a Honky Tonk Angels. Wells had hits throughout the 1960s as country's first female star and was later known as the Queen of Country Music. When Wells passed away in 2012, Loretta Lynn remarked, "She was my hero." At number 10 on the list is Miranda Lambert. Miranda Lambert's country music career is nothing to be sniffed at. In fact, the Texas-born singer-songwriter has achieved more Academy of Country Music Awards than any other artist. Lambert first came to public attention on the TV show Nashville Star and has built a rock-steady career since. Her country anthems Gunpowder and Lead and Mama's Broken Heart show Lambert's songwriting skills and straight-talking approach to country. She is also a member of country group Pistol Annies, along with Ashley Monroe and Angelina Presley. At number 9 on the list is Taylor Swift. Some country fans bristle at the idea of Taylor Swift being called a country artist, but you can't deny that Taylor Swift is as country as anyone else on the list. With her songwriting, storytelling, and wildly popular melodies, Swift has broadened the boundaries of the genre as a whole. With 8 albums under her belt, the star has 10 Grammy Awards and is the most awarded artist at the American Music Awards. In her 2020 album Folklore, Swift returns to her country roots in Betty. At number 8 on the list is John Prine. John Prine is an interesting musician that drew from folk and country to create the sound of Americana. He is considered one of the most influential songwriters of his generation, writing songs like In Spite of Ourselves, Sam Stone, and Angel from Montgomery. Prine credited his success to film critic Roger Ebert, who saw him perform in 1970 and wrote Prine's first ever review. In his 1999 album, For Better or Worse, Prine joined with female country stars to record a series of duets. At number 7 on the list is Jimmie Rodgers. When we're talking about country music, we need to talk about yodeling. Jimmie Rodgers, born in Mississippi, is considered the father of country music, partly due to his impressive yodeling skills. Born in 1897, the blue yodeler, Rodgers worked on the railroad and was taught to pick his guitar by railroad workers and vagrants. Rodgers had a short career, passing away at 36 from tuberculosis. However, he helped create the blueprints for country music and inspired generations of artists to come. At number 6 on the list is Hank Williams. Country singer-songwriter Hank Williams had a short life, but a long legacy. Born in Alabama, Williams learned to play the guitar from blues musician Rufus Payne and couldn't read or notate music. Williams had a successful country career in the 1950s, but passed away age 29 when traveling to a concert. Hank Williams is considered one of the most influential singer-songwriters of the 20th century and inspired the works of Johnny Cash, Chuck Berry, and the Rolling Stones. At number 5 on the list is Merl Haggard. Country singer Merl Haggard was born in California during the Great Depression. Haggard was incarcerated several times in his youth, but managed to launch a successful music career when he left San Quentin State Prison in 1960. Over the next 2 decades, Haggard had a whopping 38 number 1 songs on the U.S. country charts. Haggard considered his sound country jazz, as he claimed to dislike modern country music. Despite this, modern country learned a lot from him. At number 4 on the list is Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash broke musical boundaries multiple times in his life, in country music and across other genres. The Arkansas-born musician has a deep bass baritone voice that works particularly well with his rhythmic guitar riffs and somber lyrics. The Man in Black, so called because of his all-black stage outfits, spent 4 years in the U.S. Air Force, then burst onto the rockabilly scene. Even in the final stages of his career, Cash surprised audiences. His cover of Nine Inch Nails' song Hurt was particularly beautiful. At number 3 on the list is Loretta Lynn. Country star Loretta Lynn is the most awarded female country recording artist ever. Born in Kentucky, Lynn's country career spans 6 decades and includes hits like Coal Miner's Daughter and You Ain't Woman Enough to Take My Man. For the latter, Lynn became the first female country artist to write a #1 hit. Incredibly, Lynn was married at 15 and was pregnant with the first of her 6 children soon after. Despite this, she had a phenomenally successful musical career and continues to perform today. At number 2 on the list is George Jones. Towards the end of his life, country artist George Jones was considered the greatest living country singer. His peers agreed, with Whan Jennings writing in his song, "It's Alright, if we all could sound like we wanted to, we'd all sound like George Jones." With hits like He Stopped Loving Her Today and The Grand Tour, Jones immersed himself in his lyrics and was a masterful storyteller. The country star was a celebrated harmony singer and released many duets, including a selection with then-wife Tammy Wynette. And finally, at number 1 is Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton is a full-on star, and she's tightly wed to the country music genre. Born in Tennessee to a family she describes as dirt poor, Parton was one of 12 children and grew up in the mountains. When Parton moved to Nashville in 1960s, she wrote songs for Hank Williams Jr. and Kitty Wells. In the 1970s, Parton released hits Joshua, Jolene, and the iconic I Will Always Love You, written for Porter Wagner. Now in her 70s, Parton continues to perform. Alright, there you have it, 40 best country singers of all time ranked. What do you guys think of this article? Did you enjoy this one? Did they leave one of your favorite singers off the list? Let me know in the comment section if they left somebody off that you think should have made the top 40. And if you enjoyed this article, please give it a like. You can go ahead and hit that like button now. And if you really enjoy this sort of content, consider subscribing to the channel.